Hey everyone, welcome back to the Drifter Journey channel. I'm Jess and today we're going to be doing a quick tour of the garden. We recently got it set up and I've got a bunch of cool things going on that I want to share with you. So we're going to give you a little tour. I am going to talk about several products in this video. They will all be linked in the description below, and if we have any discount codes for you, I will link those also. So let's get to it. Right, first things first, let's talk about the size. This garden is 24 wide by 30 feet long, and we have the 30-foot long section going south, if that makes sense. So let's take a look. So this section is the 30-foot long section, and I wanted it that way so that we could do some trellises and some raised beds, and you're supposed to orient those north-south. First, you'll see my very classy deer deterrent right here. So we have a large gate to get in, and we wanted a large gate because we're using the tractor and the side-by-side to get, mulch and supplies in and out of here. So I really wanted to make sure that I had a big entrance gate, and honestly, we already had this gate. It's the original gate from when we purchased our property. So it's a 9-foot gate, but that also means that we had a giant gap that deer could just jump easily over. The rest of the fence is a basically 7.5 foot tall, high strength, 950 pound plastic fencing. So I did that instead of the metal because, one, it was less expensive, but also because it's black and it kind of disappears when you're not looking at it up close. So that's kind of nice. So again, this webbing, it's from Vevor. They sent it to me, and it's a 3/4 inch 100% polyester webbing. They sent me a giant roll of it, so I'm sure it'll come in handy in a ton of different places. But for now, it's a deer deterrent, and I'm still working on trying to figure out a better solution than just tying each one off to the gate, because it doesn't stay in the wind. All right, here's the garden. So we've got 2 6.5 by 3.5 foot raised beds. Currently I need to get some shade over this one because this one's got some cabbage and broccoli sprouts in it. This one's going to be our lettuce bed, and you can see we've got some soaker hoses running. I'll go over the watering system here in a minute. And then I also did 2 cattle panel trellises, each one consisting of 2 panels. So this is an 8-foot long trellis. So I have a total of 16 feet on each side for the trellises, which is a lot of room to grow. Honestly, I've never had a garden this big. I'm kind of learning as I go, but I didn't want to have a huge garden to maintain. I didn't want a lot of watering infrastructure, so I wanted it to be compact, which meant that I wanted to grow vertically for a lot of things, which a lot of things that we like to eat can grow vertically. I'm talking squash, pumpkins, tomatoes, cucumbers. I forget what else I planted that grows up. A lot of that stuff. So we've got some squash seedlings here. Everything else, peas. I planted some sweet peas and some beans, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, ultimately I'd love to see all of these plants climbing up these trellises on the outside, and then on the inside I planted some companion plants like flowers, peppers. We're gonna try some okra this year. We're also gonna try some cantaloupe. Greg found a very short season cantaloupe, so it gets really hot and dry here in the summer, so cantaloupe typically like that. Let's quickly talk about our watering system. So this garden is off-grid technically. If you're familiar with our channel, we haven't had a ton of, sorry, the neighbor's horses are upset. If you're familiar with our channel, you know that we don't have a well. We haul our water to this spot. We're not connected to city water either. So this water tote is what we fill in order to water the garden. And I've got a nice little setup out there that I'll give you some more detail on in a minute. But essentially I've got it coming into this 4-way soaker hose. I only have 3 zones set up right now, but we basically have 1 soaker hose running the length of those 2 trellises. one soaker hose running the length of that one, and then a third hose snakes up over here and then feeds both of those beds. So initially I was going to do a gravity fed system, but I ended up getting a pump because I was worried I wasn't going to have enough pressure to run soaker hoses that are that long. Now when I said that we're off grid, sort of, I kind of meant because we do have obviously water that we haul to our house, and then it's pressurized, and so we also have this Vevor hose reel sitting here, and this one is hooked to the house. So we're gonna be using that for all of our hand watering, which is super convenient because it's like a retractable hose and it's a compact unit. So we're just gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna walk around and show you guys the watering system now. So I mentioned I was gonna do gravity fed, but after all my research, I wasn't sure it was gonna work. So we ended up doing a Vevor pump. So I wanted to keep it simple. I didn't want to have a charge controller or an inverter. So essentially what that looks like is we have a solar panel that is basically a trickle charger solar panel that has a built-in charge controller. So it is a 50-watt panel, and that's the biggest one I could get with a trickle charger. And honestly, I think it's going to be plenty. I probably could have gone smaller, but it's fine. I didn't want to have to worry about the pump not being able to run if the battery wasn't able to catch up with the charge. So it has a little monitor. Let me spin that around. It has a little monitor on the back. This panel works with several different kinds of batteries. So I have it set to lithium mode, but you could change it, and it's currently showing we're at 100%. And it just hooks up to the battery like a typical trickle charger with some ring terminals that are attached to the studs there. I have a Bluetooth battery monitor on it so that if I'm ever worried that the battery isn't charging, I can just check it on my phone from inside and make sure. I have a DC timer. So like I said, I didn't want to run an inverter, which means I needed a DC pump. So this Vevor pump is a DC pump. It comes with a power switch, and so you could just run it direct and have it go to the battery with these clips. It comes with these clips, but I cut the wire and put this DC timer in line so that I could set the pump to only run at a certain time. So right now I currently have it running for 15 minutes every morning, and it turns on and off on a dime. The timer is working really well. I'm super happy with that. And then the pump has enough pressure to run all 3 soaker hose zones at the same time, which was another thing I was concerned about. It's a 1/10 horsepower pump. It pumps 300 gallons per minute, so it's not the most powerful. I was worried that it wasn't going to have enough pressure to run all of the soaker hoses at the same time, but it's not an issue at all. Puts out quite a bit of power, and we're also using it to transfer water into this tank for now. We'll probably get a more powerful one that goes faster for that, and I'll give you guys an update when we get that, because this whole like watering system, off-grid hauling water, we're kind of refining it as we go. But otherwise, yeah, Greg and I worked really hard to get this garden put in. We put in the fence. We basically started entirely from scratch. We put in the fence, and I only tilled the area where we're direct planting. I used the Vevor tiller for that, which was another super awesome little tool. It was an electric tiller. Super stoked to have that on hand too, because we do have really good dirt here, so there's really not a point in having raised beds other than being able to plant and groom them a little bit easier. But we used a no-till method everywhere else, so had this entire section covered with plastic for about 4 months, and then I pulled back the plastic, raked out all the dead grass, and tilled just these strips where the bases of the trellises touch the ground, where we're going to be planting on either side. And then there is cardboard underneath all of this wood mulch chip stuff in the pathways too, as a weed barrier. So I'm learning a lot as I go. I killed most of our seedlings early this year in the grow tent. If you'd seen that video, I was pretty excited about the seedlings, but they didn't last. So we're starting most stuff from seed out here. All of the seedlings you see I got from my neighbor, and I'll probably buy a few more from the store. So yeah, we've been using a lot of the Vevor stuff. It's been coming in handy, honestly. So we've got the webbing, the pump, the tiller. We've been using the utility trailer behind the side-by-side to move stuff around. So I'll link all of those items, and yeah, definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the setup, what we could do better, and if you've learned anything gardening and want to pass that along, let me know. Thanks for watching.